Hey guys, this is Nell, and welcome back to the Kodacast. This is a podcast where we get to document the journey of building Kodawari Collective and invite the people we meet along the way for fun, meaningful conversations. On this podcast, we're going to be having a conversation with Lucas Scarfone, and he's been someone that we've wanted to have on the podcast for some time. This is because of the fact that not only is he an incredible ambassador to the car community, but he has also changed the way I think about what that responsibility comes with as being an ambassador. Now, cars mean a lot of different things to different people, but over the time of building Kodawari Collective, I've come to understand that cars can also mean responsibility. And we kind of dive deep into that topic point through this conversation, and I really hope that as you guys listen to it, you get to start thinking about what that means to you and what your car means to you. So here's our conversation with Lucas. So we'll just jump into it, and like I've made the as we were reading about your story, and you've made it known that you picked up your first camera when you were younger.
Yeah,
it was a Nikon, I believe.
Yeah, I remember because I worked at a seafood restaurant. Yeah. And I wanted like a nice camera because I knew that like I love photography. So the first camera I bought, it was a Nikon D70. And I remember I would wash dishes at a seafood restaurant and I would sign the back of my paychecks and just give it to my dad because they bought the camera. I think it was like $1,000 at the time, which is a ton of money. And I had like a spreadsheet and like, God bless, they didn't charge me interest, but like I kind of paid it off slowly by washing dishes and stuff. So to go even further back from that, I used to go to the auto show. With my mom would let me take the Monday off school to go take pictures. Mm-hmm. And I used their Nikon F50 film camera. So I have like a photo album, old school, like here's a picture of a Viper GTSR coupe, and I like wrote it down with the captions. And it's really fun looking back. It kind of, that's where it started, right? It was like the photography journey was definitely the auto show. Mm-hmm. And I have those hard printed photo albums, and like that's where it was really documenting cars that I would see. And it wasn't necessarily the passion for photography yet. It was really the passion for the cars kind of got me started on this crazy journey. Because I just loved being like, okay, well, I got to go to the track and see a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, and I could print it out the picture. It kind of gives you those memories. But that's kind of where it started, was with the Nikon stuff.
So like, that's interesting that you've woven in like the auto show into how the photography started, because we were talking before we started recording about the auto show this year.
Yeah.
And like you've been a part of it with Autostrada for so long, and it's I'm sure you've seen it with all the ups and downs.
Yep.
And this year, just by the way you were talking about it, it seems like it's a very big year. And why do you what makes you what's gotten it to where it is right now?
I think it's this year's incredible. When you look at the roster of cars, like we see it more kind of supercar, hypercar side, but to have a McLaren F1 back in Canada, to have that car physically on Canadian soil, there hasn't been one here for a long time. A Bugatti Mistral, a Koenigsegg Jesko, and then with our display, we're very fortunate to have the support of a lot of close friends and great collectors that might not necessarily bring the cars out as much, but they want to share them with the community, but still kind of have that anonymity as well.
Yeah.
So same thing, like if you could have told me back when I was taking pictures that, this year we got like an Aston Martin Valhalla, Ferrari SF90XX, Koenigsegg CCR, super cool car, Porsche GT3R Rennsport, Mercy SV, Diablo GTR, stuff like that. Like I never would have thought we'd have, A magazine, B a display at the auto show. So I can shoot the cars that we have on our own display at the auto show is a weird full circle.
Yeah. I've made it pretty known that I'm a huge fan of Koenigsegg. Scandinavian design and the fact that like it's clashes with like hypercars is just, like your imagination can't even handle what these cars are doing and what they look like and what they feel like. And I remember when you were posting about the auto show this year and seeing the CCR, and the orange one, right?
Yeah, lava orange.
And I remember watching like a video of Christian showcasing the newest version of his
the CC850.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were prepping to deliver it, and it was also an orange one as well.
Yeah, it's an important color at that time. A lot of the CCRs were orange.
Yeah.
But the fact that the owner fortunately let us pick it up yesterday in Calgary, and it's on its way here as we speak. But it just, people go to the show and they see all these expensive cars under the lights, but like for me, it's those 7 relationships, right? Yeah. Like the fact that it's like, hey man, can I take your $3.5 million car to the auto show? And they're very generous people. And I think even, we talked about it before, but even the climate up here is different car wise. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of very important and special cars, but it seems that they're kind of hidden away a bit up here. Same thing, you can go to Florida and a guy will be out getting groceries in a Pagani and have a YouTube channel. Yeah. Up here, people are a lot more reserved. So some of the owners, they love sharing the car, but they don't necessarily want to be attached to it.
Yeah.
So we're fortunate we can bring the cars here. The community can see them. They know the cars are safe. We're physically there for almost 2 weeks, since like as soon as the car rolls in the door, we're there to keep an eye on it. But it's important. We talked about it too, where so many people's earliest car memories are the auto show. Yeah. And it's such a formative experience at whatever age. Like I've heard incredible stories of people go there every year with their parents or their dad, or they go and look at cars and sit in cars. And I'm one of those kids, man. Like I was very fortunate to have a supportive family that would kind of let me do all these crazy things. But it's those hard printed photo albums from the auto show. That's really the root of kind of all this.
Yeah. I've from the beginning of us looking at events and looking at the impact that it could possibly have, I've always thought about how the auto show has just been like a staple of our community.
Absolutely.
And it starts off with like the very cool and fancy cars, but it also opens up to all the regular cars.
Yeah, I had people ask me yesterday, one of our friends is like, oh, like, are there going to be a lot of the minivans there? Because we want to go and like bring the kids and jump in 4 different minivans, right? Like you don't forget that as a kid growing up, right? Like
because those minivans are the ones that you make the memories with your family.
You're going to hockey, you're going everywhere, right? You're loading all your stuff in it. Like and same thing, we've spoken about this, the connections to the cars are really incredibly special, right? Whether it's a minivan, whether it's a Porsche, you think about people's first experiences with cars. And we ask people this when we do articles for the magazine, and it's just amazing what your brain picks up. And it always kind of roots it back to a vehicle most of the time.
Yeah. And it's those experiences, like how it had an effect on you. And, like we're currently in like a very digital age.
Absolutely.
And even through the pandemic, when all these manufacturers were seeing, whoa, like we're able to just release cars online and we don't have to pay X, Y, and Z for a show like the auto show, and they're trying to balance out their financials and decisions. And it's like, yes, you can look at it through that lens, but you can also look at it through like there's something very like irreplaceable about seeing these cars in person, feeling them, all the textures, all the little details, and possibly even speaking to someone who is there representing it and who might have the passion for it, where like, hey, like you saw this, but what about this? And going through that is just like, you can't replace that human touch.
No, you see a press release online and then you can't replace that little kid running and screaming, oh, look, daddy, there's a Porsche, there's a Ferrari. And that's what I try and tell people. I've talked to the CEOs of a fair amount of different automotive brands, and it's like, you're really instilling that passion in the next generation, right? And so for us, we've been fortunate to kind of fly the flag of some of the OEMs that haven't been at the show classically over the last 10 years, in different ways. So same thing, we're lucky where you can come down to Auto Exotica and like you see it. I see the kids walk through the door and like lose their minds on the way to look at like a Ferrari F50 or like a GT2 RS or whatever it is, right? Like you can't replace that. You can't look at a YouTube video and really get that same emotion as you do when you see the car in person.
Does that ever get old?
No, it's the best. It's my favorite part of the show. Yeah. Honestly, for me, it's like, and then the owners of our cars are very generous people. And they always say, they're like, look, Luke, if you see a kid where like they get it and you see it in them, they're like, they can jump in the car, right? So Same thing. Like I remember we had a kid sit in, our buddy Phil had a beautiful black F40 last year. And I texted him like, Phil, this kid's like, he knows everything about the car. He's here with his mom. It reminded me of myself when I was his age.
Yeah.
And he's like, Luke, you don't even have to ask. If you see it, like let the kid sit in the car. And the kid feels like a rock star. I'm like, oh, like meet me at the back. There's like 1 million people there. He has to go behind the ropes. Like you open the door and the kid like starts crying. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the cutest thing. Like you'll never forget that, right?
Yeah. And you'll never understand the impact that has on his journey.
100%, because I was that kid, man. People made time for me. People opened their cars and their doors to me. And I've been very fortunate, obviously, how my career's gone, like just staying in the car world. But that's what I try and tell some of these, like I get that it's a business decision and you're looking at a spreadsheet, but you can't really put a price on some of these interactions where it's like the classic Porsche commercial, right? The kid goes to the dealership. He's like, okay, I'll see you in 20 years, right?
Yeah.
You're building that brand equity and just like, building that community around your brand is important, I think.
Yeah, and that's why, like, as with Kodawari, I've always believed that any event that we do, anywhere that we're out with the cars, we have a responsibility to inspire the next generation. We have
100%.
the responsibility to be like, hey, when they come to this event, this might be their first event. This might be their first automotive event, and like I've listened to my friend tell a story of how like he was super excited for a special release of a car. And then like he went out and he met like the people who were representing the brand, and they were so negative about the interaction that
I wonder what brand that was.
It completely spun him off of that brand for the rest of his life.
Unfortunately, now like same thing. I'm exposed to a lot of different brands of people, and there's themes in different brands, unfortunately. But when you meet the owners of the cars, 99% of the time, they're incredible. They were that kid, and that's what bugs me sometimes. Is like the business side of the car world is a different side of the car world, but that passion, like you see it as a kid with the posters, and then literally the people that I shoot their cars, they said, I have a picture, like I had a picture of a Countach, I had a picture of an F40 or a Miura on the wall, right? A 911. And they're really returning back and buying those cars. But the amount of times I've heard different stories of how it's been soured sometimes, but it's really, I would encourage people to realize that like, this is the one time they've talked to somebody who owns a sports car. And it's like, you could really like turn it in a different direction, right? So it's really up to us. I don't know why I've always felt that kind of overwhelming responsibility is like now being on the other side, fortunately owning a car. I remember I had my car at the auto show 3 or 4 years ago, and the battery died because he kept letting the kids in it. Like, I'm like, man, what's the point of the car? Like, it's just, I get that they're expensive and whatever, but it's really the fact that you can use it to set someone on a journey. And I've been incredibly fortunate in my career, but like it just took that one person to let you sit in a car, look at a car, talk to you about the car. And that's what I try to tell a lot of people. It's like, listen, like it comes with responsibility owning that kind of vehicle, right?
Yeah. It's funny that you talk about the battery because like my version of that is we were letting so many people sit inside the NSX and I broke the mechanism on the door handle.
Oh shit.
And it's funny because like the NSX has like a plastic mechanism that holds the cable. And the previous owner, he upgraded it to the metal version.
Oh, nice.
So he replaced the plastic one to put the metal one on. And because we were opening it so many times, I still broke that piece.
It's awesome, man.
And like the handle's not even in the car right now, but that's like the fun story that I get to tell when we think about that, right? And you're right. It never gets old. Like I've seen people sit in I've seen people sit in the NSX and the smile and the energy, like that feeds you. It permeates through and into you, and I get it, right?
It's half the reason you have the car, man. Like it just, and same thing. We talk about this too, where like guys don't drive the cars, it's art, whatever. But like when you see the emotion it brings out in people and what you can do with the cars and the memories, and like same thing, I shoot for a lot of very interesting collectors, and it always comes back to one story. It's like they're on a school bus and a guy gives them a thumbs up in a 911 and floors it past the school bus, right? Like stuff like that, where it's like you see these moments where you can literally change someone's life, and it doesn't take much, man. Like it just, there's one of my favorite stories. There's a bridge that goes over the highway in Hamilton. So I sit there with my son usually in the summer and we'll look at cars. So I remember I was driving the GT3 and there's a kid riding his bike, and then he saw the car coming. So he stopped and you could see him taking a video. So I like slowed down, just like pinned it through 3 gears, whatever. And then I look on Facebook and the kid posts it, and like it was a video, and he's like, I've never seen a GT3 in person. And like he was freaking out. And it's just something where like, man, you could do a little pull and make somebody's day, right? So it's half the fun of the car is sharing it. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, it's like there are a lot of things that we aim at in life, and some of it is maybe cool, some of it is finding success in like different aspects, right? But seeing a sports car like that, hearing it, like that will forever be cool. And no matter what happens to the human species, driving a cool sports car, letting it rip through 3 gears in front of a kid. One.
Like, tell me you're not on like a patio at a restaurant and you hear a car.
Yeah.
Like, my wife still like makes fun of me because it's like you hear it and it's like you're looking around.
Squirrel.
Like, what is it?
You're like squirrel, you know? Like
exactly. So it's something where it's like, I think it's in our DNA. And I've been fortunate where it's something that I get to see and experience on a daily basis in my career.
Yeah. So I'm going to take it back to that first camera, right? We've already established that the camera was started off with going to the auto show first and then wanting to capture these moments, right? And then you talked a little bit about like your parents helping you buy this $1,000 camera and you were paying them back through your job. Mm-hmm. Like $1,000 for a camera back then,
all the money in the entire world.
That's with inflation, that's probably like $100,000 now, right? So like, how did that conversation with your parents start? Like, you know, like what did you say to them? Were you like, Mom and Dad, like,
yeah, like God bless now. Like they could have literally just told me to get a real job this entire time. I think it helped where like my parents both like are entrepreneurs. Like my dad had a travel agency. My mom was an artist. She still is an artist, but she used to teach prenatal classes. And so they kind of understood a bit of the entrepreneurship background, obviously.
Yeah.
And they just like, God bless them. They just kind of signed up for whatever I was doing, right? Like my mom used to drive me from Hamilton to Mosport to go and shoot like Ferrari track day for fun. And then, I remember that because I'm trying to remember where I bought it from. But it was, I think it was like $1,000. And I remember having the spreadsheet and everything. So I think they saw that passion, right? And same thing, even like I don't have the typical kind of educational journey that way. Like I didn't do any post-secondary education. I did for a little bit, but they've always really trusted in kind of that passion and the effort. And that's the thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not like I was sitting at home playing video games my whole life. It was really just like, they saw that I was motivated, that I was out doing things and meeting people. And, but yeah, God bless, as a parent now, it's like, man, I don't know if I'd let my kid like take the Go Bus to Toronto when they're like 15 and go shoot a Ferrari and come home, right? Like they really put that trust in myself, and yeah, it's wild.
When your mom was driving you to Mosport, like where were you guys living at the time?
Live in Hamilton, man. It was like 4 hours round trip. This shit's no joke. No, right? Like it was something where, we had a Chevy Astro van with a license plate prenatal. Because she was a doula, so she'd go with people when they had their babies.
Yeah.
So they would drive me like 4 hours round trip to Mosport for no reason. I wasn't making money. I wasn't doing anything. I was literally just like, I like Ferraris. I want to go take pictures of them.
Oh man, your parents are amazing.
Heroes. It's very special when they get to come down to the auto show every year too, which is really special. But and same thing as a parent now. It's like, well, that's really like being able to support your kids that way is something that's incredibly powerful, right? So they literally could have just been like, no, like you need a real job, like go do this. But they always still support me like with everything.
Yeah, it's like we grow up in like that term real job and it quotes real job, right? Like there's so many ways to look at that, and the fact that your parents were able to identify that passion that they saw that you were kind of clearly headed towards, and being able to fan those flames. And it's led you into just an incredible life and an incredible career up until this point. So like I think about it a lot because obviously I have 2 boys, and I think about the responsibility that I have to fan those flames. Mm-hmm. and it starts first with exposing them to things, getting them to try a lot of things, because not everyone's going to find their passion at the first auto show or whatever event that they go to. But as long as you keep showing them and exposing that, and then once you find that, once you see that spark in their eyes,
it's cool, man.
To drive 4 hours in an Astro van to do an event, like, you know, as growing up as kids, you don't understand what that sacrifice means. But now as parents, when you have so many responsibilities of making sure the bills are paid and cooking food and groceries, and the to-do list is just endless. But when your kid comes up and is like, Mom, can you take me to the racetrack? And it's crazy. And then back then you were like, okay, how far is it?
You don't even realize, you don't register it, right?
Like, and then you go there and it's just like, yeah, those are just the little intangibles that no one ever teaches you about, right? About like,
and you know what, God bless, like some people don't have that support system, and you know what, like all you can do is be grateful for it, and just try and translate that into your own kind of journey with parenthood. But yeah, like I got there, I didn't really know anybody. I messaged some guys on Ferrari chat. So I remember my buddy Rob, he had a 308 Ferrari, and that was the first Ferrari I ever went for a ride in, because I went to the track. And then he's like, oh, like, do you want to go for a ride? And the truck was shut down for lunch. So he took me around the roads around Mosport.
Yeah.
I saw him in the summer. He's like, you got to drive that car, because that would be really cool. He still has it. And that's the other side of it. Like, I've had so many people just like take me under their wing. And it's people where these guys are incredibly successful in different areas of their careers. And one of my biggest compliments I think I've ever gotten was from some of the guys where they're like, you remind me of myself when I was your age, right? And these people are like, they're worth an incredible amount of money financially, but like they see that passion and that drive, and that's what means a lot to me, is just like being able to share that, right?
Yep. So like when so you're going to these events, you're going to the racetracks, you're going in commuting downtown to take photos of it. Where does that journey, like what was most memorable for you in terms of like, when did you know that you wanted to continue developing and pursuing the craft of photography?
I remember I shot it was a Lamborghini Gallardo with a Mira Corse kit on it. I'll never forget my buddy Aram. And he was the first one where my mom, same thing, drove me to his house in Richmond Hill. We took the car, I'll find the pictures of it. We took the car to like the park by his house. I took pictures, and he's like, I want prints done. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. He's like, you'll figure it out. So then I went to like, I don't know, Staples or something at the time. I made him like 3 posters. I like gave him the receipt. This is how much it costs. Here's your posters. And I remember he took a lot of cash out, and he gave me, I think it was like $300 or $400 cash at that time, which was like all the money in the world. And he's like, you can make money at this. He's like, keep doing it.
Yeah.
He drove to my house in Hamilton to pick them up. I have a picture of it in my parents' driveway. Yeah, and it's stuff like that where like he didn't have to do that, man. He didn't have to do any of that. He didn't have to give me the time of day to shoot his car, to like push me to do anything. And I see him around now, and it's fascinating, right? Just like he was the first one who like gave me like that's where I made money, I think, for the first time. I think like taking pictures, right? So tracing it back, like it's all these incredible people you meet along the way. And I'm very fortunate to still call them close friends, right? Like to back it up, like my buddy Nabil, he was the president of the Viper Club of Ontario. So I don't remember how I got on there, but I like sent him an email when it was like at the beginning of the internet, pretty much. And I was like, oh, I'm like, I love Vipers. Like, I'd love to see a Viper. Can I come out to one of your events and take pictures of Vipers? And God bless him. Like, he was probably just humoring me at the time, but he's like, get your parents to bring you to one of our meets. And it was at Burlington Mall. I got pictures of it in my printed out photo album where I'm in my like shiny black tearaways with my hockey jacket that's too big, and I'm like crouched beside the car. And same thing, he's still a dear friend. When he signed my GT3, like that was one of the most special moments of my career, where it's like, he was that guy too, where it's like these people are instrumental in your career and your life in general. And it's like, okay, well, say those first handful of experiences aren't super positive. You're like, okay, well, maybe this isn't the community for me, right? But just being able to consistently grow up with people like that, who like, they just like give a shit. Like they care about you. They want to see you do well. They've done well. It's my other buddy said it best. He's like, these guys have kind of made it, right? It's like, it's kind of their responsibility to send that elevator back down for that next generation. And I've been incredibly fortunate to like have those people really like just in my corner since I started.
And that's so special, because like, I think back on my own story. I think back on like just growing up and feeling very insecure about a lot of things, as most kids do,
Of course.
as you're kind of stumbling your way through life. And I still remember when I was younger, a family friend of mine, he was a police officer, and we would always go out together to his house as a family. And I remember he would always pull my dad to the side, and he would be like, "Hey, you know your son now. He's gonna do something special one day,
That's cool,
right?"
man. Yeah.
And obviously, my dad didn't tell me that at the time. And I remember we're going through like my teenage years, and I was rebelling, and I was doing a lot of stuff that like wasn't like me. And I remember standing there and washing dishes with my dad, and he's a man that doesn't really say much,
Yep.
right? And all he said was, "You remember Bakto?" Right? Like, and that was what we called him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You know what he said to me before?" And he passed away with cancer within, like, I think probably 5 or 6 years after he said that.
Yeah.
And at the time when we were washing dishes, he had already passed away. And he's like, "You know what he said?" And he pulled me over to the side, and he's like, "This is what he said. He said that he thinks that you have a lot of potential. He says that I think one day you're going to do something very special." And just that one line has always stuck with me.
It's amazing, things like that. You don't forget that stuff.
Yeah, it's like someone just having belief in you.
Yeah. I remember one of my buddies said it best. He's like, "I feel like I believe in you more than you believe in yourself," kind of thing, right?
And
like,
that's usually the case,
yeah,
right? Because
it's
we're always so hard on ourselves.
Absolutely.
We're always so hard on ourselves, and that's just part of the human condition. And hopefully you have enough people around you that love you enough to kind of help you find that balance.
Yeah, and honestly, that's probably one of the things I'm most proud of. Like, I've been same thing, fortunate in my career where it's taken me and all these adventures, but like the people you have around you, right? Like, God forbid everything stops, I got to sell the car or shut everything down. It's like, these are people who will always be there.
Yep.
You can call them for anything. You'll still go for and same thing. I've had buddies who like just get completely out of cars, and it's like, okay, well, like, I'm still going to go for coffee because like you're just a good dude, right?
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. And even like in the business side, people like leave a dealership and it's like, "Oh, you still invited me to an event." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't give a shit where you work. Like, you're just like our buddy, right?"
Yeah.
Like, you don't forget when they supported you when they could.
Yeah.
And it's just something where without that, like, what is there? For me, that's not the definition of success. Like the financial side is one thing, but like having a group of people you can rely on and count as friends and just really know that they're in your corner.
Yep.
For me, that's a big part of what I would determine success as, because same thing, people where they've made $1 bajillion, but they walk into a room and everyone's like, ugh, like it's congrats, you're feared and you got a ton of money, but it's just something where, I don't know, I'm not that guy and I never wanted to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something where you can really just focus on those relationships that mean something to you, right? It's not transactional. It's just like, maybe we like the same things or talk about the same stuff. Like, it's just in this world of the especially the high-end automotive world, it can be very superficial at times.
Yeah.
You run across all kinds of people, but it's something where the longer you're around it, the more you can see kind of those genuinely just like passionate owners and people are there for the right reason. So that's what you try and focus on.
Yeah, like the building Kodawari Collective over the past like 6 years, like I started it with the intention of like, okay, how can I build a life around my love for cars? And the more and more that we've gone through this journey, the more and more I realize is like, cars are just a medium.
Of course.
It's the people that you make friends with, the things that you're doing together. Like, it just, as complicated as this world is, it's also very simple, right? Like growing up, you're just like, oh yeah, you're on your bikes with friends and you're doing things that you like to do together.
Yep.
And now career and quote unquote real job is, to me, my definition of that is being able to do just that.
It's awesome.
It's like we get to make time in our day to have this conversation and talk about the things that we like talking about. And
at the very base of it, it's like you both like these shiny objects and you can like make amazing friendships and it takes you to some incredible places. And that's the thing, at the very base of it is very simple, right? Mm-hmm. It's something where you share a passion for something. And that's what I found. Like, same thing. I've always grown up with people a lot older than me and incredibly successful people, but it's like, you're car guys, right? So it's like, okay, I've used this example, like I can sit on someone's private plane, but when you're talking about cars, it kind of puts you at the same level.
Yeah.
It's like you're passionate about the same thing. I get that there's different sides of it, but it's like at the core of it, you're passionate about the vehicles, why you got them, where you take them, what you do with them. So you can have that conversation where it doesn't seem like you're from two different worlds, even though you might be in other aspects of your life. But the cars are always that kind of great unifier of everything. They really just kind of, that's what we try to do with Autostrada. It's like, I didn't want people to open up the magazine and be like, oh, look at this other guy's got a ton of cars and all this, and here's all the price tags. It's like, okay, well, you might have 50 cars, but what was your first car? What was your first memory?
Yeah.
And that's really what we've always tried to translate and make it approachable. And that's the biggest thing. Because like, same thing, the high-end car world's a weird place sometimes. But at the base of it, most of these people were just kids with posters on the wall, man. So like they fortunate they can buy them now. And that's the fun part, is seeing that journey and what they choose to do with them. And it's always fascinating.
So like as your career around photography began to develop, right? When did it get to a point where a magazine started coming into the picture as to like, yeah, this is actually something I want to do?
Yeah, it's funny to trace it back, because like I would be out at events shooting a bunch of different things. Like I was fortunate to shoot for a lot of the manufacturers, events, travel, all that kind of stuff. And then I met my business partner, Sean. Like we started the magazine together. He had a custom home builder magazine at the time too. And there was always that overlap. It's like, okay, well, it's a beautiful home. And he would know the builder. And then I'm like, oh, well, like you'd see the garage. And it's like, oh, I know the cars in that garage. So it was something where there would always be like the small automotive feature in the home builder magazine. And then we were like, oh, like we should do like a car one. And at the time there wasn't really, even now, there's not a big kind of volume of automotive titles in Canada, right? And that was when it actually like turned into a real thing. It was pretty wild. Like it was, March 2015 was our first issue. So you look back at it, like that was a long time ago. Yeah. Like it was just past 10 years, obviously last year. And it was something where, I could have never, if you gave me a blank piece of paper when I was like, I don't know, 14, taking pictures of stuff, like I could have never charted out where it's taken me that way. But just really enjoying the process, I think, has been important. Easier sometimes than others, but it's just, I could have never anticipated, having a car myself or being able to do a lot of the things I've been fortunate to do. But you just enjoy the process. And I've always found that if you keep that level of work there and that dedication and really, you just keep that perseverance, it'll take you where you're kind of supposed to go, hopefully.
Where do you think you got that grit, that type of endurance, that perseverance from? Is that something that your parents taught you, or do you think that was just part of your makeup?
Yeah, like they both had their own companies, right? So same thing. I'd see my dad leave at 6 o'clock, take the bus to work all day, come back, really do what he had to do. He had 4 kids. Same thing. My mom was teaching prenatal classes, like all that kind of stuff. So it's, I think it was modeled that way. Like work was always important in our family. And then I just loved it. Like I just like what I do and how it, like, I don't know, it's not, certain times are more challenging than others, but like, I don't know, for me to get up at 4 a.m. and drive to Ottawa and shoot a Koenigsegg and drive home, I've done that. Yeah. Like, it's just, I don't mind. Like, it's fun for me. Yeah. I've literally driven to Montreal, did a shoot and driven home. Obviously, like I love driving the GT3, that helps, but it's just something where if you love doing it, it's the same thing everyone says, right? It's like, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. Not completely true, because some days are different, but the overwhelming theme of the passion and just working that hard and long on something that's yours really makes a big difference. And that's what I've always leaned into, is really just trying to enjoy that process. And it's fun, man. I'm incredibly grateful to be able to, like, I don't know, be around the cars and people that I am. And like, these people turn into your friends, and it's great. Like, it's really just a great group of people, and it's a very supportive network and community, which is great.
Yeah. And I just jumping on the point that you made, it's that whole, like, it's kind of hard to explain, right? But it's, for me, I'm someone that always kind of, more lately, I've been looking at this idea of balance in my life. And what does that come to in different forms, right? And, you know, you talk about having the energy and the perseverance to kind of work your ass off and do things you're super passionate about. And the way I can kind of explain that in terms of my own personal experience is, like, you're doing things that obviously you're expending a lot of energy, but the process of who you're doing it with and the things you're doing are also feeding you back.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's that balance.
And it's not always monetary. It's not always the paycheck that you get at the end of the week. It's the laughs that you had. It's the grind and the growth of seeing how you started in terms of like shooting your first photo and then being in the editing room, like adding your 10,000th photo and being like, holy shit, right? That's how far I've come. And like that realization is just like, it just re-energizes you. And you're like, this is why I'm doing it. Right.
Yeah. And it's just the opportunities, man. Like, I don't know, like even up to last summer, I remember my buddy texted me. He's like, oh, hey, like I just got this. Can you shoot it for me? And it was an AMG 1, like Project 1. Yeah. And I literally was like a little kid again. I'm like, holy shit. Like I was like giddy. I remember like I could like barely sleep the night before. And like he lives about 2 hours away. And I was literally like a little kid. I was like,
on Christmas morning,
get up early. I'm like looking at all the pictures on the internet of the car and looking at like all the reviews. And it was something where I drove up there and he opens a garage and it's like, you're just like stunned. Yeah. It was like starstruck. I don't get starstruck very often with cars anymore, but it's just like, this is wild. And just having that opportunity, it's like, okay, well, he thought of me to like come up and shoot this incredibly expensive, rare car, but it's just having that experience is still just as special as like that first time I shot a 512 TR in the distillery district and I was like 13 years old. So
does that ever get old?
No, it's awesome. I love it.
And have you ever, so like obviously when you see these cars get released and then there's all this buzz about like positive or negative, have you ever gone and shot a car and spent some time very intimately with that car and been like, no, this is not what they say it is, or this caught you off guard in terms of being something you were not expecting, if that makes any sense?
I remember when they launched the SP3 Daytona, the Ferrari. Extreme example because obviously it's expensive, but I was like, this car is incredible. Like it's just stunning visually. Yeah. And I hadn't seen one like in person up until last summer. Really? It took me a while to see one in person actually. And I remember I like drove in and same thing. It literally like takes your breath away. Like not to be dramatic, but like I remember and same thing. I drive around the corner and there's an SP3 Daytona, SP2, TDF, Enzo, 3 pistas, a Purosangue, and a helicopter. Same thing. It was an interesting shoot, but I literally drove and I like was like starstruck again. Like just everything on that car really like it's one of the most beautiful vehicles I've seen. New cars, right? Obviously you look at a Miura 300 SL, like 275 GTB Ferrari, like the classics are the classics and they're timeless forever. But like for a new design, I was just still like, it just blows me away, that car. It's incredibly special.
Yeah, because I know you've made it known that you think that car should be like part of the legendary 3, right?
In my perspective, and I'm on the ground talking to a lot of people who own different cars, and like that should have been the F80, however, hot take. But like you think about what that car, it's just visually stunning. It's got a big V12 from the A12 comp. Like I get it. The supercar at the time is always the epitome of technology, right? So you look at the F80 and it is all the new tech. It's incredible. It's faster than a spaceship. It's an amazing vehicle. But the emotion, I think that's what's been, was penned into the SP3, and it's at the heart of the SP3. And it's something where, like it was a beautiful car. It was white with the Italian stripe, red interior, but like, you just like can stare at it forever, right?
Yeah, and it's just like you said, right? Like I believe there should be a balance of that, because in the digital age where we're living right now, where AI can do and create so many beautiful things, I think there needs to be a balance of obviously the technological advancements in the car, but also the emotion, the beauty. You know, like the car has to look and has to make you or take your breath away.
And that's what's been interesting to see with some of the brands, how same thing. I'm sure there's all these people in a boardroom that make these decisions for a reason, right? But from a purely passionate enthusiast perspective, if I have to swipe to turn my car on, that's not really something that I'm super passionate about, right? It doesn't set that tone for that experience. The car is great when you start the car and you're driving the car, but like even just that first tactile experience of like not pushing a big red start button, it's like a little swipe kind of thing. So it's like, unfortunately, the digital age is really like translated into the car side in different ways, positive and negative. But it's interesting looking back and seeing really where the brands have chosen to go in different directions that way.
Yep.
A lot of them, it's like buttons. Why is there a war against buttons? Like, it's just something that like now they kind of bring them back in certain capacities. So it's just, cars are going to be fast forever. Mm-hmm. Like, you get in any electric vehicle, it's incredibly quick acceleration, but at a certain point, it's like, do you want to cook your steak in a toaster or on charcoal? It's one of those, like, that was one of the funnier analogies I've seen out there. You've got to this saturation point with speed. Yeah. And it's something where a lot of cars have 5, 6, 7, 8, 1,000 horsepower. And it's like, okay, well, how does a car make you feel, right? It's something where I'm fortunate to have the GT3, and it's like, you put a stick on a 500 horsepower naturally aspirated flat six, and it just sends that lightning bolt down your spine at 9,000 RPM, right? So you can be driving another vehicle that has 1,200 horsepower, but it's just not the same kind of visceral feeling, right?
Yeah. And I know like you've had so many opportunities and so many moments to get very intimate with these cars. And I know that you have a series where you talk about like textures on the car.
Yeah, I just started that. Right? It was super fun. I thought it was something where like, I always loved that. Like, I've always loved the details, the textures. And I bought like a crazy macro lens. Mm-hmm. In my mind, I was always like, I want to get that like one stitch that you can really like focus on, right? So yeah, I started the tactile series probably, I don't know, a month ago. And it's just fun. It's fun to have an outlet. I don't really like, it wasn't for any really commercial reasons. It was just something that I love shooting that part of the cars. Mm-hmm. So it's like that one single stitch. It's that one like part of the carbon ceramic rotor. It's a headlight texture. And it's something that there's so many people that touch these cars when you think about like from a pen to a paper to an actual vehicle. And they put a lot of time and effort and energy and finances into making these cars so special. Mm-hmm. But it's accumulation of all these small details, right? Mm-hmm. And it's something that like you can really just digest the car differently when you're looking for things like that. Yeah. It's been super fun. I really enjoy it. Like, it kind of brought a bit of that passion back sometimes. Yeah. And same thing, like, yeah, candidly, it's like you turn into a production machine, man. Like, you shoot a bunch of cars, you do certain things to kind of pay for life. But getting back to the core of why I started this whole thing and how, it's really kind of brought me back to that, which is really special.
That's super cool, because like when I saw that you were shooting that and you were showing like the really fine details of the Valhalla.
Oh, I love that car. Yeah.
You know, like when we're here at the shop, we're servicing cars and that's part of our business, but being able to come and sit in the cars and to smell them, to see the little details that are intentionally put here and here. And I really wish like OEMs and manufacturers would showcase a little bit of the people behind these little details and be like, hey, I'm in charge of just the seat design and I chose this detail to do this.
Is it fascinating?
And it would give you so much more appreciation for the decisions, right? Because we're so quick to judge, or like, why would they do this or why would they do this? But you don't really understand the person on the other side, the guidelines and the parameters that they had to stay within.
Oh, it's huge. You look at the side of it where it's like all these restrictions and everything, and it's fun for us like at Autostrada where it's like, okay, I'm not going to tell the story of like a first drive of a new car. Like there's enough great outlets to do that, but it's like, okay, it's talking to the designer, it's talking to like we did a story on a previous issue on Frank Hill. He's the chief designer for Bugatti. Yeah. And it's fascinating. And it's not just like, okay, what's it like to design a Bugatti? But it's like, well, what do you drive? Like, what's like, you get in their brain a little bit, right? So we've always tried like to focus on that passion, history, journey side where it's not a review of a vehicle. It's like seeing it from a human perspective, somebody who's worked with and on the vehicle, right?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite story that you
that's hard, man.
I know that's a very hard question, and take your time to think about it, but one that really stands out to you through all the many stories that you've had on Autostrada.
When I think about like career experience, it's hard and it's not. Like as car people, like obviously Jay Leno is always kind of like the North Star, right? Yeah. It's something where his passion and he comes to life when he talks about the vehicles. So I think it was 5-6 years ago. I have a picture on my phone that Sean took of me shooting Jay Leno with his McLaren F1. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like as a car kid from Hamilton whose parents would drive him to the racetrack, I could have never, ever, ever imagined that I would even have that experience, right?
Yeah.
And Jay's the best. I'm sure he's given that tour thousands of times, but like made all the time in the world for us. We flew there from to California, and we buzz in the whole gate and everything, and then like we open the door and he's just like washing his hands in the sink. He's like, "Yeah, what's up, guys? Like, what do you want to do?" So I was taking pictures of everything. He was great. So you think about like all the stories are incredible. We've done 40. We're just going to press tomorrow for our 45th issue, which is wild. Thank you. But that one really stands out, like just because growing up, like obviously Jay Leno's Jay Leno, right? Yeah. It's funny now when I do like, I'm fortunate to talk to some of the high schools and elementary school stuff, like for business things. And they have no idea who Jay Leno is. And they ask me, they're like, "Oh, like what's like the coolest?" I'm like, "It's Jay Leno." They're like, and then the teachers are like, "Oh, it's like the Jimmy Fallon of like back in the day." So it kind of ages you right away. But that was just incredible because when you see someone really talk about their past, it's like when you guys talk about what you do here, it's like when you see someone talk about something they're so passionate about, it's infectious, right? And that was a really, really cool experience.
Yeah, I bet just like how like when you see and have a kid come up to the Autostrada booth and how excited they get, Jay probably gets that same experience when people step into his garage.
I would think so, man. Like he spent probably 45 minutes telling us about steam engines, and he has like a schematic of like half of an engine apart, and he doesn't need to do that. He literally could just like unlock the door and be like, "Okay, take your pictures and leave."
Yeah.
But like he told us the story of like his 300 SL going and like all these other crazy cars that he has, like, and he's talked about it before, but he really just makes you feel like family when you're there. It was really cool because he's obviously incredibly passionate and knowledgeable. Yeah. Like it's wild. Cars that I had never seen before, have no idea how the technology in, like it was really neat to see him kind of in his element, and for him to include us in that was really special.
Yeah, that's so cool. Like just, you know, the automotive world would not be where it is today without people like that just sharing and just letting their passion just be so infectious, and it just bleeds in, and it has such an incredible effect in terms of like changing someone's perspective on this or inspiring them to do this or that, right?
It could have just, guys don't have to do that. And God bless, there's guys out there where like their collection's just for them and that's what they enjoy, and all the power to them. Yep. But that doesn't build community. Yeah. And that's been such a big part of my personal career and what we've tried to do with the magazine. And it's just, it goes back to that community and that passion that really just like unites everything.
Mm-hmm. So one thing that I'm very curious about is, okay, so print is obviously, you know, not as popular as it used to be.
Yeah.
And we talk about how like even shows and events like this in person, yes, there's a step away from it because everything is so digital, right? And then we talk about some things that are tangible, like intangible, about, you know, going out of your way, meaning that you don't have access to it in your pocket right away. You actually have to go to a store. You have to buy a magazine. You actually have to sit and be present with it and not be able to scroll through 18 different things. What does that mean? Like, what is your perspective on how these forms of media have become so digital, and what it means to have something physical where you have to bring a different approach to it, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, and it's being intentional too. And same thing, we're going to be going through like a more of a digital kind of transformation, but we'll always have that physical kind of tactile magazine, right? Because what we found from the beginning, and same thing, I remember when we started, people like, "You're crazy, like no one's going to like print dead," all that kind of stuff. But quality print, I think, makes a big difference. And I remember we had the opportunity at the beginning. It's like, okay, well, you have this paper and you have this paper, and this paper is like 6 to 8 times more expensive. But it's like when you look at the demographic of people reading it, they're engaged, they're present. Yeah. That's a great way to put it, because it's like, I see it on my phone all the time. I've been like making a conscious effort to spend less time on my phone because it's something where you're not present. You can kind of doom scroll all you want, but like when you have to be intentional and drive or whatever to the bookstore and get the magazine, and then it's like the biggest piece of feedback we get from our readers, it's something where it's a break. You're not looking at a screen. There's no shit popping up all the time. No one's calling you. It's something where it's like they get a glass of wine, a coffee, a cigar, whatever it is, and they just really are present with the content. Yeah. And they say all the time, it's like we read it back to front, and it's kind of a break. It's kind of an escape from kind of the daily screens, and you have a million things trying to grab your attention, right? So we'll always have that. We're going to be doing a bit more digital stuff just because that's the world we live in, and it's the being able to publish things immediately is great. Yeah. But at the core of it, it's been 11 years of print, right? I remember Pete Stout, he started 000, and he's like, there's a permanency of print. That really stuck with me. He's a really special guy. They have a very special product. And it's just something that one of the biggest compliments is like when I go to kind of a friend's garage or an office and you see like 20, 30, 40 of our issues on a coffee table or on a bookshelf, right? Even seeing the Gordon Murray issue like in the lobby, right? There's that permanency. So same thing, you could publish a story online and like you literally swipe up and refresh the page and it disappears forever. Yeah. So there's that permanency and that legacy of print. I think it's all these kind of key points that really enforce why and how we do it. And we're going to be doing more digital side, but it's going to be more of a repurpose of the print content because it's great, man. I'll say I have a bookshelf at home and it's like being able to, even when you walk into the bookstores and you see Road and Track, Octane, Car and Driver, DuPont, and then it's like, that's our magazine. Like it's pretty special. I remember I was in Fort Lauderdale and I like drove into the Barnes and Noble and like, you're in a different country, in a different state, and you just like see your magazine there. It's pretty powerful. So yeah, it's that being present, it's that intentionality of getting the magazine. Mm-hmm. And it's just being present when you're there and interacting with it, I think is very important.
Yeah. And to jump on that point, because I remember watching a video, I think it was a Joe Rogan podcast recently, where one of his guests was talking about how like Netflix was ruining the film industry because like so many of these movies are being released and the environment of which you're watching these movies now, there's so many distractions. It's not going to a private movie theater anymore where you're focused on the art and you're focused on the story and you can really fully be immersed in that world. But your kids are running around and your phone's going off and you're kind of half eating and then you're running back and forth to the washroom and you're cutting back on. And because of that attention span and because of that intention of the environment of which people are consuming this content now, it's changing the way the industry is actually creating the films.
Interesting.
So they're saying how like now at the beginning of the movie, there has to be a huge action scene to catch you within the first 5 minutes, or you're just going to flip and go, I'm going to watch the next movie.
It's wild, yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's creating these patterns and it's creating this ripple effect as to how human beings create and how we consume. And I think so much about where things are kind of ebbing and flowing when it comes to, the things that we are passionate about and how we spend our time with these things.
Yeah. And I think it comes back to that intentionality of things, right? And that's what I've been really trying to focus on the last little while. It's like, okay, well, it's like, why are you doing certain things? How are you doing them? What's kind of the meaning behind it? And it translates to all different parts of your life, right? So, and that's been the interesting part with the magazine is really like the feedback that we get is incredibly positive when people, they're very intentional with the product itself and it feels nice. And we're very proud of like the physical feel and weight of the magazine. So like in this crazy world, it's something where you can focus on it. You can flip the pages. You can smell it. It's interesting when people get the new magazine, they'll smell it. Yeah. And it's just like, it always kind of stays with you. You don't have that on kind of digital side, but it's been a fun journey that way. People really were questioning our sanity when we started. So it's been interesting to see it evolve.
Well, I'm proud of you guys for sticking through and doing it. My other passion outside of cars is cooking. So awesome. I love smelling things.
Of course. Yeah.
And all the cars that come into the shop, I always like smell them all the time because I love the smell of like different like materials and that kind of stuff. And
yeah, the leathers, it's interesting. You can get into like I can vividly smell like a 930 Porsche in my brain right now. Yeah. Or like a 458. It's weird. It's very weird how your brain like registers those things. Like like same thing. I can smell a 458 Speciale because like it's just something where I've had so much experience, fortunately, in those cars and the memories, and it's very interesting how scent
and
can
I
trigger
bet a
things.
lot of people have the intimate smell of what a GT3 touring, yours specifically, in terms of when they've had the chance to either experience it moving or still, right? And again, back to that point of being intentional with maybe just, in a world where we're so distracted and so many options and things to do, like almost finding something that's meditative is like, there's something that's never going to replace that. And
It's
for
rare.
me,
It's very rare to get.
me, like the NSX, like I love putting aftermarket wheels on my cars.
Yeah.
And I love my aftermarket wheels to have no buttons, just simple, because when I'm looking and I'm driving, that's all I'm there to do.
Yeah. That's the thing, you're connected. And that's the thing when you go to the digital side with the cars now, right? It's like everything in new cars is made to not focus on drive. It's like, okay, well, you got lane keep assist, you got all these great safety features. But when you get in a car that's like that analog experience, right? Even my car, like it's a big car, it's got Apple CarPlay, heated seats, all that kind of stuff, right? So you get into like the 992.1 like I have, but then you get into like a 997 and you start going backwards. And I see why the car market has shifted so drastically price-wise, because the new stuff is so expensive. Like we've spec cars like on the configurator that are like a 12-cylinder Ferrari is $1 million. So you look at like, okay, if you're going to spend $1 million, do you want that driving experience, which some people do? Or now you look at like a 458 Speciale. I go back to that car because I love it so much. But like a 458 Speciale coupe is almost $1 million Canadian. That car was, I think, I forget what my buddy paid, it's 400 grand Canadian. Yeah. So it's something where the new cars are so expensive. The new 296 Speciale is $1 million, right? So it's just, I think that kind of lifts the market on everything. Yeah. And same thing, a lot of that more is kind of commodity based now when you look at collectors and stuff like that. But it's just, you can't replace that kind of analog driving experience. And you see it now with the Resto Mod stuff, like the Singer stuff, the HWA stuff. Like it's really, really interesting because the cars are fast enough. Yeah. Like, I don't know, I got 500 horse on that car and it's more than enough for me. So it's something where you're really focusing now on that driver interaction, and it's the age old thing, right? It's like the digital side is great, but it's kind of returning to that original focus of what the cars were made for.
So we've talked about, like you being able to experience and shoot these cars. We've talked about like the details of like what makes up the cars. We've talked about how your journey through photography has led into this magazine and all these stories and all the people and all these experiences, right? Outside of those really exciting things, I know something that where your career has also brought you now is talking to the next generation, going to schools and talking about like what your journey has meant to you and how it could inspire them. Like, do you want to talk a little bit about how you got into that?
Yeah, like it's even yesterday I was fortunate where I started my company like on paper through the summer company program, which is an Ontario government backed initiative through the small business centers and across Ontario. And that's something where you physically register the business, you get a bank account, you have advice from lawyers and marketing and accounting and that kind of thing. So it gives you that foundation. Yeah. So through that, I've been incredibly fortunate to kind of become a mentor for that same program 18 years later, which is pretty cool. So we had a thing yesterday for it at City Hall in Hamilton. But through that, I guess like it's an interesting journey, I guess, from the outside for people to see kind of where I started and where I've been fortunate to end up. But it's really showing people that there's an option. Like your passion, you don't have to be that crazy kid in your class who takes pictures of cars and is like, doesn't think that there's a future in it. Like, same thing. I go back to the fact that if someone told me, like, kind of gave me a glimpse of kind of the career I have now 15, 20 years ago, like there's no way you would believe it. Right. But it's showing that it's an option. And I think that's important, whether you're passionate about photography or cars or making cupcakes or whatever it is. And I've seen all these incredible businesses come to life through that summer company program, because the government gives you a grant to start it. You get access to mentorship, and then you get another grant upon exit of the program. But just seeing where passion takes you, I think that's important to people realize that, like, it's an opportunity to make a living doing something you really enjoy. And it's always this triangle. I'm like, okay, well, if you have a job you enjoy that supports a lifestyle that makes you happy, that's it. Really, what else do you want? If you want to do a job that like, yeah, it gets you from A to B and you do what you can, and it just showing the opportunities I think are important. So that's been the fun part of kind of being that mentor on the other side. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because like I look at the people that I have around me on the other end, and they're like actually successful. Like guys got like 20 Ferraris. Like I have a little Porsche, but like you just see these different levels of success that way. And so I've been very fortunate to grow up with mentorship my whole life. And it's something where if I can help cut a learning curve or whatever, help kind of shape a bit of a pathway for somebody. Because that's what people do for me every day. Honestly, there's people in my life where nothing I do doesn't go through certain people, and they kind of give me their guidance. And these are people who have built incredibly successful companies. And so it's kind of a distilled version of that is what I try and bring to that table when you meet with some of the kids. You do it too all the time, man. It's awesome. Like, you don't realize where that spark comes from. It's like, oh, like I can get paid to take pictures of stuff. Like, wild. I didn't think that was an opportunity I could pursue. Right. So,
yeah, I think this kind of circles back to that conversation we had earlier about like, not everyone's as fortunate to have these mentors or to have these people who are like showing them the world of like, this is possible.
Absolutely,
right.
Yeah.
Sometimes they've come and they've grown up around, the kind of people who are like, no, the limit is this, and you can't push past this limit, and there's only these 3 paths that you can do. And then finally you speak to someone like yourself, and you're really able to show and connect with the kids, just like how we were talking about being in that plane talking about cars, and you're suddenly at the same plane, same level, right? Like now you're in that classroom, you're talking with that student or whoever, and then you're able to kind of talk like, hey, this is my passion. This doesn't have to be your passion, but if you find your thing, it could possibly lead to X, Y, and Z.
Just finding that thing too is hard, right? Yeah. And like you mentioned with your son, it's like you just want them to try stuff. That's kind of try it out. That's kind of my perspective, like just parenting wise, I guess, as the kids grow up, it's like just do a bunch of stuff, and if you love it, that's awesome, and then you can pursue something. Like same thing. I've been incredibly fortunate. Like I kind of knew at a very early age, and I had a great kind of nurturing home life with my parents supporting me. And then I was fortunate to go to another set of mentors that way, like in different areas. And a lot of people don't have that. And I'm very aware of that. So it's sometimes you might be that person, that 5-10 minutes you get to talk to that one kid at school. He might not have those support systems that we were fortunate to have. Right. So it's a big responsibility. And I think it's showing people that you can do it. And, same thing for me. I've never really digested what kind of I've accomplished that way, where it's like, I remember the perfect example of this is when I bought my car, and like same thing for me, ton of money. I was very like, I could not afford it. I don't even know how I get to keep the car, but I was like, okay, I got a GT3. It's a big deal. And so we went to Ferrari TaylorMade in New York City with one of a group of friends. And my buddy put more than the value of my car in options on his like 15th Ferrari. And I'm like, there are so many different levels in the world. But if you're just like confident, you do your thing, and you're confident with who you are and how you built what you built, there'll always be somebody with more, right? So I've been very fortunate to kind of find kind of my identity that way, where it's like, I get it. I'm not going to be one of these guys flying around in a plane and driving my Koenigsegg out for breakfast. But it's something where if you keep that passion alive and you love what you do that way, I'll never forget that. That was a good kind of contrast of the two different things.
Well, it's like what we talked earlier about the Hot Wheels and this and that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's like you talk about these guys who have these incredible machines and are able to afford all these things, but when they're gifted a Hot Wheel and the joy that comes from that, I think we all start off with that childlike excitement, and we can always bring that to whatever stage, whatever chapter of our lives. And you don't always have to always be thinking about like, no, only when I get this $1 million car can I actually really be like giggling and like super excited. No, like that's us comparing things. Our brains they haven't evolved to handle what technology has allowed for us to see in terms of okay, before you used to live in a village and you'd only be exposed to like what people in the village were doing, but now you're comparing yourself to these billionaires, to
Well, it's
these,
like, yeah, if you're 19 and don't drive a Lamborghini,
yeah,
you
exactly,
failed, right?
right?
That's kind of unfortunately some of the culture there.
Yeah.
I remember Jerry Seinfeld was on a Porsche podcast. He's like, comparison is the thief of joy that way, where it's like, you know what, like it's just kind of being grateful for where you are, and that's yeah. There's so many different levels, and you meet so many different people, but at the core of it, if you just really enjoy what you do and who you do it with, and yeah, you're exposed to a lot more now. That's the challenge, right? So
yeah, I think it's cool that you know, like being able to be in front and to really help and inspire others through like your own journey has been something that I've really kind of had a lot of fun with. I know me and Brennan, we went to like a high school like just down the street over here, and just being able to like it's so interesting sometimes just to kind of like we pulled up in the NSX, and then we were talking to the students, and then I remember myself on the other side of this type of interaction.
it's interesting, right? When you think about it.
Yeah,
Like
and
you were on the other side of that table.
and it's funny because I remember at the beginning when they got all of the coaches to stand up in front and kind of talk and kind of introduce themselves, and I was like, you know, it's funny. I think about this, but like in high school, I skipped a lot of my classes. So like the fact that you guys are actually in this
Thanks for coming.
classroom, thanks for coming, because I probably wouldn't even have been here.
It's interesting when you trace it back, right? Like it's, yeah, same thing. I actually went back to my old high school a couple months ago. And I'm like, man, in no way did I ever think I'd be driving my own car to talk to their business students, right? So yeah, it's just leaning into the process. I think it's easier sometimes than others, but yeah, I see it a lot, especially in kind of the car world, where I don't know, you see a guy rip by in an SF90, and you're like, oh, it must be nice. Like I hear it all the time, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm very fortunate to know the people driving the cars, and you don't see kind of, it's the tip of the iceberg, right? Mm-hmm. You see that part, but like the sacrifice and the effort and the dedication that's got them where they are.
Yeah.
And same thing, it's you see kids now, like they're digesting all this content. It's like, okay, well, if I don't have like 6 Paganis and a jet, like what's the point of life, right? So it's a tricky time that way, but I think just kind of staying grounded and grateful that way is something that's incredibly important.
Yeah, there are certain things in life where yes, you listen to your mentors and you listen to the people who care a lot about you. Mm-hmm. And a certain aspect of what I've learned through my own journey is like only you know your story.
Absolutely.
Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Mm-hmm. Focus on the growth and find that balance for whatever that mean and may look like to you. And that's where you'll be able to not be so caught up in a lot of the unnecessary stuff that we just weren't evolved to handle. Right?
It's tricky, man. I struggle with it too. It's
we all do.
Like, yeah, it's a lot, right? You look at like what's in your pocket and in your hand all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, making that conscious effort, which I've been trying to do, is just like, okay, well, you need to just be present and be intentional. I think those are the 2 biggest kind of things that I've been working on just mentally the last little while. Yep. And it's great. Yeah. You just kind of digest things differently and absorb things differently. And yeah, we're all just trying to make it, man. Like it's, we're all in it together.
We're figuring it out and stumbling through life. So it's just like, take it easy sometimes. Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And kind of enjoy it as much as you can.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a little quick break and we'll be right back.
Sweet.
Okay. So we're back.
Yes.
Your GT3 that came in super salty is not looking so much saltier.
Like I said, I literally forget this time of the year what it looks like shiny. So I appreciate you guys very much, because it's, yeah, that car's not lived an easy life by any means. So any type of pampering it gets is very welcome.
Yeah, you know, like the mentors that I are a part of my life. They talk so much about how life is full of hard things, and having fun in doing the hard things, and that's kind of been the theme of a lot of things that I've been trying to think about and decisions that I've made. And you know, yeah, that's right. Like, you know, when you were picking up that GT3, you were like, man, am I even gonna be able to like keep this thing? Am I gonna drive it? And then
I honestly didn't even think I could keep the car. Like I have no business driving a car like that, owning a car like that,
right? And it's
financially, but it's like, you know, it's something that's been such a big part of my life that you just make it work. Like,
and it's funny enough because I remember talking about this with Matt about like even it connects with Kodawari's story because I remember when we signed the lease for this,
yeah,
I had no idea what I was doing, and I was like, okay, but now I just signed that lease, I have a commitment, and this is just playing the video game on hard mode.
yeah. I remember my buddy said it. He's like, you jump off the cliff and grow your wings on the way down. So it's just yeah, easier said than done sometimes. But that was kind of the case with the GT3 because it was a very long story of how I ended up being able to have the opportunity to purchase it. But when they said, yeah, you can buy it, I'm like, okay, now what? Like, how do I do the financial gymnastics to keep this car, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember because same thing, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to keep it. So I was like, okay, maybe I drive it for a year and give it back and they can set whatever it was. And then I drove it. And I'm like, I can't. I'm like, there's no way this car is going anywhere. Like, it's such a special experience. So I really, yeah, you just make it work.
You know, like everyone's story is very unique. And the fact of the matter is like that being your first sports car, like, and putting that many kilometers on it, like, I can't
it's
even
ridiculous.
I can't even begin to come up with any type of analogy of what that would be like. Is it like losing your virginity for the first time? Like what? How do you put that into context?
I told myself. So I've been obviously fortunate to grow up with a lot of different cars and experience different cars. But I was like, if I ever had the opportunity to buy one, I was going to drive it every single opportunity I could. We talked about this as well, where for me, I see a lot of big collections all the time, and they're very wealthy people, but they just don't drive the cars. Mm-hmm. And everybody does different things, but for me, I wasn't going to be that guy. Mm-hmm. And it was something where I somehow every single star that could have possibly aligned to have that car under my name. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to die wishing I drove my car less. I was like, you know what? I've been fortunate to have the opportunity to get it. And I'm like, I'm just going to drive it. So it's, yeah, it's our 4-year anniversary soon. I remember it landed in February and I was there. Literally, I committed myself to being there whatever time the truck got there from the port. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to see this car roll off the trailer because I'm like, this is probably the only time in my entire life I'll have a car like this that I could buy brand new. And I'll never forget, I was there at FAF when it rolled up. And then the lock was frozen because it was like this time of the year, it was freezing cold. Mm-hmm. So I have pictures of the guy like thawing the lock out with a blowtorch. And then it was something out of a movie because it was a bit overcast. And then literally, like, I have a picture of it, I'll show you. They cracked the door open and the sun just like hit it. And I was like, sweet God, this is actually here. Like, it really, yeah, I still get goosebumps because like, I never, ever, ever thought that it would be a thing. I thought that like, okay, I can shoot cars, I'll be around the cars. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I even can say that I own that thing 4 years later is miraculous in itself.
Because like you've been lucky enough to, at this point, have I experienced a lot of different cars, right?
Yep, for sure.
How did it feel when it was finally like, this is mine? Like getting behind the wheel of it.
It really took me a long time to realize it's my car. Because same thing, I've been very fortunate to drive press cars and new 911s and Lambos and Ferraris and all these interesting cars, but like I'd always have to give them back. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, the week's over. All right. Like I'll go back to my other cars, which I was the same thing. I was lucky I had a Golf R at the time, but it just, I don't know if it's still even sunken in. Like, I don't know. I didn't drive it for a week and a half because I was traveling, and then I got back in it and I'm like, I own a GT3. Like, this is nuts. Like, it really was accumulation of all these different experiences and relationships in my life that, at the honesty, it came down to one buddy who knew I would be the right owner of that car. Yeah. Despite all the shit he got after the fact for giving it to me. Mm-hmm. But it was something where I will never forget somebody who like literally steps up for you that way when they don't have to. Yeah. It's easier if they don't give it to you and they give it to somebody else. But like the fact that he knew that I would make a good owner for that car and be a good ambassador for that car. I'm extremely loyal to that because it's something that meant the whole, like, it meant the world to me.
Shout outs to your friend, right? Because like you hear about this all the time. You hear about people saying like, oh, like these cars, they deserve to be with enthusiasts and people who are not going to buy like 18 Macans and this and that, whatever the case may be, right? And there's always going to be that side of the business. And there's also going to be the side of understanding, okay, before these huge corporations became a thing, before like, allocations and whatever the case may be, like these cars, especially with the Porsche brand, it all started off with that emotion, that passion, that love for cars. And that was your friend almost looking at the culture of how things are and the games that we have to play to get these cars, and being like, no, this car belongs to Lucas. It was meant to be, like the
it really, there's no other explanation in my
Right.
mind, because like I never thought I would ever have one. I didn't know how I could finance anything, and it was one of these once in a lifetime opportunities. And I talked to one of my good friends about it, and he's like, listen, he's very like business practical, and he's like, honestly, man, he's like, even if you just take it and you drive it and enjoy it for a year or two, he's like, you could probably give it back and get your money back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, that was something that I was like considering at the time, because I just didn't know how I would make it work. And then, like I said before, like I drove that car and I'm like, this is special. Like, there's no way I can, like, you're going to pry this out of my kid's hands one day. There's no way I'm selling this car. Right. So
wait, so what was the conversation with the wifey like?
God bless. She was very, she's like, do what you want. Yeah. So we didn't have kids yet. So I think if
that helps.
If I was going to buy the car now, it might've been a bit of a different, priority, but at the time it was one of these like once in a lifetime opportunities, man, like to go from, no sports car to that sports car. It kind of caught the whole city off guard a little bit.
Yeah.
I had a lot of varying, reactions to it, mostly positive.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other ones, it was something where I understand the other side of it, where if you've been kind of on the train for a while and some kid from Hamilton gets a car, having never had a car before, I understand the narrative of it, but now nobody cares. It's like, you know what, it's just they've seen what I've done with the car and how much I've enjoyed it. And when I bought the car, I wanted to raise at least $1 per kilometer for the Starlight Children's Foundation. And yeah, fortunately the car's at 132,000 kilometers, but you've raised $252,000 with it for the foundation. So
that's amazing.
And that's directly because of all the amazing people that like I have kind of in my corner that way, where they donate and they put a sticker on the car, and it's just very positive. And it's just, I think it's kind of, it's very positive for the community to see what you can do with a car that much, and enjoy it and drive it, but also take care of it. And that's what the cars are for, in my perspective.
And like, you're from the outside looking in, you're someone that is very focused on the community. You're someone that is very focused on giving and inspiring others. And the more and more that I've got to learn about your story in terms of the people that have been in your corner, is that a big reason why you are the way you are, in terms of wanting to partner and be a part of something as incredible as Drive for Smiles, is because that you understand that not everyone has the luck of having as many people in their corner as you've had, and you're trying to cultivate and get people to think about like being there for others, helping others, and building something that we all want to be a part of.
It's important, honestly. Like I understand like a lot of the people that are in a bit of a different bracket. It's, you might be insulated from certain things at some points, and it's just showing like what you can do with the car. And I think we go back to like being that kid, where we're healthy and you see a car drive by and it's incredible, but you see the challenges that like these families go through. And same thing, I've been very fortunate to really be exposed to that through the Starlight Foundation, the incredible work that they do in the community. Same thing, I'm very fortunate to have healthy children, and it's hard enough. And then you start taking some of these things away. It's health, it's finances, it's stability. And it breaks your heart, obviously. So to be able to use a vehicle, this is what I've always has blown me away, to use something like a culmination of parts in a vehicle to literally change somebody's emotion. Like it's incredibly powerful. Like we've done a lot of the Drive for Smiles events and hospital visits, and the fact that like you can use a car and show up and brighten someone's day when they don't have very positive days very often.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's our responsibility. I hark on the guys all the time, and I always say it till I'm blue in the face, but it's like, what's the car for? Great, you made $1 bajillion and you have a brand new Aventador, but like you're gonna literally park it Young and Dundas and rev it instead of going to a hospital and showing kids that can actually like make a difference in their life. Like it's just something that I don't know, I take it very personally, and maybe just because I've had so many amazing people around me growing up, and God bless any of the guys that I'll text them and I'm like, okay, I need you to show up here at this time, and it's like whatever you want. Because they kind of have that trust in me that it's like, well, this is important. Yeah. But it's just something I think it's important for the community, and I encourage everybody to do it no matter what kind of car you have, and just seek out opportunities to really like use whatever access or anything that you have to change somebody's day. Honestly, like you see how pumped, like we went to the Credit Valley hospital for their they had a cancer center day there through Starlight, and like the kids come out and they freak out. It's honestly like such a special experience, and they get to like sit in the cars, and it's something where we take it for granted for sure, being around the cars all the time. But I just think people don't really realize the power they have parked in their garage. Yeah. And it's tragic to me when it's like, okay, well, you have all the money in the world, you have all the cars, and no one sees them. And so for us, we really try and promote that, because it's very important to us personally. And really like it's very special. So you hear some of these heartbreaking stories, man. And same thing, the last probably 6 months, like two of the kids that we were fortunate to meet through Starlight passed away. And it's something where like, yeah, I remember our buddy Zach like reached out through Starlight and Sick Kids. And anyway, so he wanted like to have a track day experience. So we had, I think, 10 cars. Cayuga donated like a couple hours. So same thing, you got to go in an Aventador SVJ. It was his like favorite car in the world. And then you fast forward 3 months and he's not here. And it's something that like, yeah, it's having kids now, obviously it's very powerful to see just like the difference you can make. And like talking to his mom, and she's like, he had such a great day that day, and you don't have great days at that stage of illness very often, right? So it never gets easier, unfortunately. Like not everybody is successful in their battle with what they're going through, and I just think that if you have the opportunity, like why wouldn't you help? Like why wouldn't you do that? So yeah, I take it very personally. Like I'm fortunate to be the chairman for Drive for Smiles Toronto, and I take that very seriously, because it's a big opportunity to, like, dude, you get like 500 kids and their families out there, right? And this is what I tell people. I'm like, okay, well, you might have somebody sit in your car and it might not be the actual child who's sick, but it's like their little brother had to like skip their soccer game to like bring their sister to chemo. Like it's horrific, right? Yep. So I was like, never really discount like the physical side of it, where they might not look sick, but yeah, these stories are very powerful, and it's something that like it means a lot to us to be able to use the cars for that. At the very base of it, man, you can use something you have in your garage to make a difference that way. And it genuinely bothers me when people choose not to do it. And we just try to give people the opportunity to do it. That's the big thing.
Yeah, the one thing that I've noticed is that it's again that disconnection, because we haven't been through those situations before, right? We haven't been around in terms of understanding what it is when someone goes through that. And even recently, I can talk from my own personal experience in terms of having a family member going through like an illness like that. You always hear about it. You always hear about cancer. You always hear about people going through this and that, and you're always like, yeah, it's just something that's outside of your world.
Yeah, can't happen to me.
But then when it becomes into your world, and then you understand that how it affects you, and how time consuming it is in terms of driving to hospitals.
And it's not just you; it's everybody around you, right?
It's like you said, it's not even the kid that's sick. It's the siblings. It's the mom. It's the aunts. All those people are.
It's the village.
They have their whole worlds just rocked.
Yep.
And it's something like with the siblings missing out on soccer, or the attention always being on the sick child.
Yep.
And it has a big effect. And for them to kind of forget about that and to experience the cars, like we've been lucky enough to have been at the Driver's Miles and have taken kids around in the NSX, and it's extremely special. But how did you choose Starlight specifically? Like, how did that connection get made?
Yeah, so it was a friend reached out. It was right when the event kind of first got introduced in Toronto. He's like, I think this would be cool for you to go to. So fortunately, my buddy Dan lent me his 458 Spider, and we went to, it was at Cayuga. And same thing, it was we really kind of fell in love with the event itself. There were certain aspects of it that could have been improved, and that's where we kind of were able to help and bring a bit of a different level of car and driver and safety side of things. But the minute you go, it's hard to get guys to come out sometimes. But then the minute they're there,
then
they're like, we will never miss this. And if they miss it, they write pretty big checks to make up for it. But it's just like, it's giving them that opportunity. And it's something where, if fortunately you haven't been through that in your family, then it's something that you might not be exposed to. But when you see it, and when you see that, my favorite part of the day is when like you get there and you line up all the cars and all the kids and their families stand against the wall on the track, right? And you just like pin it down the straight, and all these people, the kids are so excited, everyone's cheering, and it's like they're gonna have a good day. And for that 10 or 15 minutes they're in the car, they're not the sick child, they're the child having fun with the car. And they're really like, and every year the foundation sends us the like a PDF from all, like some of the parents write really special messages about how, like the one that they were going back for treatment 2 days later, and it was like the easiest treatment they've had because they were showing the doctors the pictures and videos on the iPad and stuff like that. And I'm like, what a special opportunity, man. Like to be able to use a vehicle that's parked in your garage that you're fortunate to own, to be able to make a physical difference. Like I get it, the world revolves around financial donations, and that really helps with that event too. But I tell the guys, I'm like, this is your time. It's not your money. It's something where like your time to come out and spend half your day, you see the physical difference in the kids, and it's so powerful. And we've been very fortunate over my career to really have some very impactful experiences, and it puts things in perspective incredibly quickly. I remember when my son was born, he had a fever like when he was like 4 months old, and I was a disaster. And I can't even imagine like what these families go through on a daily basis. So it's like, if you can make it an ounce easier, or just kind of redirect their brains for 10, 15 minutes, like it's something that is very powerful.
Yeah. Like when you go through the hard times and you see the people that come, and even if it's just a smile sometimes, even if you're having a bad day and it's just a simple smile from someone else, or someone just showing one kind gesture, it changes the whole fabric of your day. And that's just you having a bad day. Now imagine having and going through something where you're constantly in pain, you're constantly going to doctors, and like it's just hard to not see outside of that, right? And when the parents see people just caring and get and helping the person that they care about so much, it's
incredibly special to read through like that PDF they send us every year. And it's like the message from the parents, you can't read it and not cry. I don't care who you are. It's something where like they're so grateful for just people that care. And I think unfortunately it becomes more and more rare in the world these days, but it's just really using whatever we can to help that process. That's very important.
Yeah. And now that you have two little ones to take care of.
Two's a wild.
Right? And you have all of these experiences. You have all of these things pulling at your time, pulling at your energy. And what do you, looking forward, what do you want to say yes to more, and what do you want to say no to more at this point in your life?
So for me, like travel was a huge part of my life. Excuse me, like growing up, I was fortunate to a camera took me around the world that way. So we do European deliveries, and we would drive these crazy cars up and down the coast of California. I used to be gone like 6-7 months of the year. And then when my son was born, I'm like, you know what? Like I want to be home, obviously.
Yeah.
Like it was just something that it was mentally, it was tricky at the beginning because it's like I literally, the last trip I did before Enzo was born, we, with the guys from Policaro, we flew to Germany, took delivery of 6 GT3s, and then drove to the Barcelona F1 race.
I remember when
it
you
just
posted
sounds
that.
ridiculous to talking about it, but like, so same thing. I remember vividly. I was like, God bless, my wife was like 8 months pregnant, and I was like, okay, this is the last one, and it was, but yeah, like to go from that, and then I remember like 4 weeks later, covered in puke and baby shit. It was great. It was just, it's a different chapter. And I think I've embraced that where it's like, okay, well, I'm fortunate to do that. I'm sure I'll do that kind of stuff again eventually, but the priority now is to be home and to be be there for my family. Right.
Yeah.
Like it's really important to me. And it's something that, same thing. I've been exposed to a lot of different things and people in the world. And I've seen kind of the opposite for different situations. And it's something where I want that, and that's the decision I made. Not everybody does that, and that's their journey, right? But it's just different now. Yeah, it's very different schedule wise, and it's very much takes a village. Incredibly fortunate to have great people around us that way to help with things, but you make time for what you want to make time for. So for me, like being able to drop the kids off is important. To be able to pick the kids up is important. To be able to go to skating class and soccer, that's important to me.
Yeah.
And it has to take something incredibly important for me to sacrifice that. It's very rare. Like even being out in the evenings, I don't know, to go for like, we had a dinner meeting in Yorkville, and I'm like, to drive from Hamilton to Yorkville for a meeting is something that is a big challenge. But same thing, you end up kind of, your actions reflect that, and it's like, okay, well, you can say it's a priority, but if you're not there, and then it's different, right? But I've been very fortunate to be able to spend time, like just time in general. I think it's precious for everyone, but it's just leaning into the chapter now. I did struggle with it at the beginning, and it's something where you kind of learn yourself and your brain and things that it's like nothing else, 1 to 2 is a wild transition. 1 to 2 children is a lot. So, but same thing. And then I look at, you go to a Drive for Smiles event, and all these things you think are issues or challenges that we're having, it's so minuscule in the scheme of everything. So, it's an interesting chapter right now.
Yeah. I think about like you choosing like intentionally to be there for your family as this chapter unfolds for you. And it's kind of like how your parents were there for you when you wanted to be like, Mom, I need you to drive me 4 hours to the racetrack and back. Like it's heading in that direction, right? And it's coming full circle. And you're gonna watch your son grow up, and you're gonna be able to see what he latches onto. You see what gets his eyes all sparkly. And it's you're gonna relive that side of you again, right?
I have a video of my daughter saying Ferrari for the first time, and like it was in November, and I was like, oh man, it's super cool. Like it's just something that it's been such a big part of my life, right? Like my whole life has been around cars and kind of that community, and God bless, if they're not into it, they're not into it. It won't be for lack of trying, because it's something where I'm sure if I bring another Hot Wheels home, it will not be a great time. It's it's just something where I remember taking my son on the track for the first time, right? Like we shut the track down, and he was on my lap, and it's like to share something that's been so important to me with him. And then even with my daughter now too, like she's a lot young, like she's a couple years younger than him, but to see them like kind of get into it a little bit, it's very special. And it's just like making time for those special moments. And like it's a shit show all the time, right? But if you focus on those little very special moments, that it kind of it helps to put in perspective.
Yeah, like I got to share a very special moment with my son when you invited us out to one of your track days.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
And that was the first time, because Anderson's grown up around this, and Anderson's my oldest, and he's always just sat in the NSX as we moved it in and out of the shop kind of deal. But that was the first time where we were on track together.
It's awesome.
And I have like a video of me and him just sitting there. and he can barely see over the window, but it was raining that day, but we had a blast. We had so much fun.
You just don't forget stuff like that. And it's really, I don't know, man, that's what life's about. Like, what's the point, right? It's really absorbing all these very, very special moments. And it's really just different chapters. And that's what I've been really leaning into, is it's kind of managing those expectations and embracing the chapters that you're in. And it's a journey for sure. It's the craziest measure of time.
Yeah.
When I look at, like, I don't know, Enzo was born 3.5 years ago, and then like Sienna's 1.5 already. I'm just like, it's wild to see, right? So
yeah, you know, like I was talking to Brendan the other day, because we were talking about the weekend that I spent, and we dug out one of my old speakers, and I forgot that I had it, and I was just like at home with my family, and we were like jamming out the entire day. We had the volume on like 80%. We were dancing around in the living room, and we were having so much fun. And I was talking to Brendan about it, because he loves music too. And I'm like, Brendan, like, life's just not that complicated, eh? Like, you just do fun stuff with the people you love, with the people you care about.
At the base of it, man,
And it's just like we talk about all these levels of like, you can go and buy a $1 billion car versus a $1 Hot Wheel, but there's a thread that connects all of it, is that it just brings out that joy. It's fun, and if you get to share it with someone that means something to you, then it just
awesome.
adds.
There's nothing better, honestly.
There's just adds layers to it, and it just makes it infinitely more enjoyable, right? So
one of my favorite pictures I saw, our buddy Phil. There's a picture of him driving his F50 with his 2 boys behind him in F40s.
Oh my gosh!
Obviously next level, but I was like, as a dad, that's gotta be the coolest thing in the entire world.
That's the fucking.
And you know what? Like, replace the cars with whatever.
Yeah.
It's still just as cool. That was pretty badass. But like, you know what I mean? Like, just being able to have that connection and really just see, he generously lent us his SF90XX for the auto show this year, and like to come down with the boys. And it's just something where, as I grow up and have these people around me, to see kind of what goals you would have as a dad. Maybe not the F50 and F40s, that might be a bit much, but just to see that, like, that connection is really special, right?
Yeah, you just gave me a new goal, right? Because I want to be driving the NSX, and both of my boys just drive either in the Type R or the S2000, and that kind of be our thing. You know?
Coolest. I'll never forget that picture though. It was really cool. I'm like, you can appreciate it because the cars are cool, but like, yeah, as a dad, that's got to be pretty special, right?
Yeah. You know, as this conversation winds to close, the one last thing that I wanted to ask you about is, you know, with Pesto being downstairs and all clean now, there's a bunch of signatures under your hood, right? Like, how did speak of the devil? how did that come to be? And, you know, like, what does that mean to you, to having all of those names there, all those people in your corner as you go out and do the things that you do?
Yeah. So when I remember when I bought the car, I was like, I knew I wanted to do that. That was special to me. And it's something where so many people around me are the reason I have that car. Yeah. Like, I'd love to say, oh, it's just me and I'm awesome and I could do it by myself. There's no way. Without every single person who signed that car has really like made a tangible difference in my life that way. Like, it's something where I just ordered a new the middle part there, because I'm going to take it off and put it in the garage, and then I'm going to put a new one on.
So you have more room.
There's no space. And same thing, I'm very fortunate where so many people have signed it and written really special things. And every time I drive that car, it sounds corny, but like, I have all these people with me, right? Like, it's really fun to pop the hood and just like read the signatures sometimes. Like, I always try and take a picture of people signing it, because sometimes I can't read their signatures. So it's just the most special one on there. I got to bring it to my grandparents' place. And they live in Burlington. They don't give a shit about cars, but like, they would always, I'd always just stop in. I'd have a McLaren, I'd have a press car, I'd have a Lambo. I remember taking my grandma around the block in a Performante convertible. So I remember, like, when I got the car in the spring, I brought it over, and I was like, oh, I'm like, my grandpa was still around, and I was like, I don't have to bring it back. I'm like, this is mine. I get to keep it, right? And then they were so excited, like they couldn't care less about the car, but they're like, oh, my grandma's like, you did it, you got one.
Yeah.
So yeah, like my grandma signed it. God bless her. She's like, she's very kind of unsteady with her writing, but my grandpa's like, no, I don't have to do that. And then he signed it for me. He just wrote grandpa. God bless him. But honestly, he ended up passing away, I think 3 or 4 months after that. And it was just like, you look at this accumulation of your entire, whatever, I'm 36 years old now. And it's just like all these people in different ways at different points in your life, at different chapters in your life. You just don't forget who was there, right? And that car for me encapsulates all that, where it's just like the whole journey of everything from the auto show to the track days to my parents driving me to driving my own children on the track. Like it's a crazy journey. I still don't know what, how, why it happened, but it's something where if you just lean into kind of these experiences, like all these little moments that kind of make up life in general, right? Like you said, it's hard. There's a lot of hard things in there, but it's like if you can at the very base enjoy it and just kind of be grateful for it. That's always kind of been my formula that way.
Yeah. It's all those little moments where you're doubting yourself and then you hear that person saying, you can do it. Like, I believe in you. Right. And like I remember listening to a podcast recently, and there's this gentleman who's like started a whole movement of like, it's called Say It Now. And the movement was about going to all those people who have had impact on your life and really letting them know very specifically as to what they did to impact your journey, inspire you.
That's very powerful.
Right? And he went out and throughout like a whole year, he met up with 80 people who had a huge impact on his life. It was something like that.
It's incredible.
And he would have lunch with them. Sometimes he would fly to different countries. He'd be like, hey, when you did this, or when you said this, or when you, whatever it was, he went and he actually thanked them. And like the way he talks about how it made him feel, and the way he was able to receive how they felt when someone came in and said, do you realize the kind of impact that you made on my life, kind of deal?
It's very powerful. Yeah.
It's incredibly powerful. And part of my journey this year is I wanted to do that. It's amazing. I found a lot of inspiration in that, and obviously seeing what you've done with Pesto and those little things, like those things resonate a lot with me. And I want to go and for me, Kodawari Collective is a collective of people who care about these kind of things and are building together. And my collective is pretty incredible in terms of all the people who have helped, chipped in, lay one brick, said one word of encouragement, or whatever it may be. And we wouldn't be where we are today without that. And I think the world could just use a bit more of that.
100%. It's really embracing the people that were there for you at different stages of your journey, right? So it is special when people like kind of come back around. It's like, okay, well, at this point you helped me do this, right? And it's something where it might be the smallest little minuscule thing you didn't even think about at the time, but it really helped put somebody on a certain trajectory, right? And a certain path. So it's really just making those special moments and using those opportunities to do that. I think is important.
And as a man and as a father, I find that I am most happiest when I'm doing things for others. When I'm not focused on my own like goals or this and that. When I'm giving, that's when I feel the lightest.
It's awesome.
That's when I'm like smiling the most. That's when and the energy that you give out comes back like tenfold.
That's what
right. So like I hope that through this conversation, if you guys are gonna just take on to anything, it's that. And we happen to share the same age. So you're born in 89?
89.
Yeah. So it took me until 36. Like I've always known that of having that aspect of my personality. And there's things that have gone too far where I'm like, you give and you expect in return. But I had kind of had a moment of reflection this past Christmas, and I'm like, you know what? I just want to give for the sake of giving.
Yeah, and it takes time to learn things. Honestly, there's things that I have learned in the last X amount of weeks that I wish I had applied a long time ago, right? What I've been leaning into is the fact that like you can do it now, and I don't know, I feel like we're still young enough that it's like It's just doing it now, and that's the important part. You can kind of look back on things, but it's being able to take those principles and life lessons, and positive or negative, and apply it as you go forward. And that's really, as people, all you can do, right? So
yeah. Well, Lucas, I really appreciate you making the time.
That was awesome, man. I appreciate it. It was great.
It's been a long time coming in terms of just always bumping into each other at different.
I feel bad. We're always kind of crossing ships, right? Where it'll be in an event or a Cars and Coffee, and we're kind of both have our own responsibilities that day. And no, this is awesome, man. I appreciate the opportunity. You guys, what you guys do here is very special, and even just seeing the community rally around you guys, and it's for a reason, right? So you should be proud of what you guys have built. It's pretty special.
Yeah, no way. So much of this platform, this podcast format, is for us to kind of hopefully be mentors, or hopefully share that message and inspiration to like our collective, people who are maybe figuring things out. And just like how I've been lucky enough that part of my growth journey has been kind of being a fly on the wall, sometimes in the rooms of people who've done cool things and who have made mistakes that you don't want to make, right? And that's a big purpose of why we do what we do. And having you on here and building with you, and just being responsible for our city in terms of the enthusiasts, I think it's something that we will always appreciate it. And I'm so excited to kind of see where you take things and where we go. But again, thank you so much for joining us on here and sharing your story and everything that you do, man.
For sure. Team effort, man. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Lucas. All right, guys. That pretty much sums it up. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll catch you in the next one.